It's Monday, January 22. In the headlines, the government plans to ban plastic lunchboxes. In business news, the Musson Group has tipped its control of food manufacturer and distributor Seprod Limited. Regionally, Guyanese government focused on enforcement and tech in crime fighting. And in sports, reggae girl Bunny Shaw making strides on the international scene. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. For the full newscast, head over to our YouTube page. Jamaicans could see a ban on plastic lunch boxes and personal care products with microplastic beads as of June 1. Speaking in the Senate on Friday, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, said it's part of a strategic policy, environmental and sound management of single-use plastic products to be done this coming fiscal year.
Now, why June 1st? Because we have taken the lessons from the first round of the plastic ban as it relates to public education and need to give sufficient lead time.
Jamaica already has a ban on single-use plastic bags. Senator Samuda says Jamaica currently collects more than 30% of the plastic bottles produced monthly.
Mr. President, we commend the NSWMA and the recycling partners of Jamaica who have achieved this up from 8% 3 years ago. But we're ambitious with our environmental targets. We're in a race against time to ensure we improve our waste management. And one of the ways to improve our waste management is to ensure we extract plastic waste from the waste stream.
He says Jamaica is actively participating in negotiations for a legally binding instrument on plastic pollution.
In essence, the Paris Agreement related to pollution, and specifically plastic. Now, we don't know where those negotiations will end up. We obviously have some insight as to where they are. But it is our intention in Jamaica to make sure that whenever that is agreed, we are ahead of targets and able to sign and ratify almost immediately once that is agreed.
The government of Jamaica ratified the Paris Agreement on April 11, 2017. The Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty on climate change. It was adopted by 196 parties at the UN Climate Change Conference, COP21. He says additional details will be provided by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in his budget debate presentation. 30 new service vehicles have been handed over to the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The L200 pickup trucks, valued at $230 million, were presented at the office of the Commissioner of Police in Kingston last week. An additional 16 Hilux pickup trucks and 4 highest buses totaling $177 million will be handed over soon. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the vehicles will play a crucial role in improved mobility and bolster rapid response by cops.
We did a systematic plan to ensure the police have the required mobility. We bought vehicles, but we have a design. The Commissioner is indicated clearly by his work with the senior officers that we should have about 1,600 operational vehicles on the road. We're not quite there yet, which is what we keep buying. But we have a target with a reason behind it, and after that you have other kind of vehicles that supplement it, for plainclothes officers, for crime scene management.
Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson says the government's investment marks another milestone in the effort to strengthen the capabilities of the JCF.
And we see these vehicles and other things that we have received in terms of investment as things that this well-trained group of Jamaicans who have decided to put themselves in harm's way for everyone else, to make them be better able to get the results that we want.
Educators from the early childhood secondary levels will continue to upskill themselves in numerous professional development opportunities. That's the word from the Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams. She gave an update on the sector during the last sitting of the House of Representatives. Daniel Rodney has the story.
Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams on Tuesday announced that through opportunities provided by the National College for Educational Leadership and the Jamaican Teaching Council, early childhood, primary, and secondary teachers and principals will be able to upskill themselves. Speaking to the House of Representatives, Minister Williams shared that the remaining participants are expected to receive their devices this term, along with new smart devices in schools.
I'm pleased to share that all remaining teachers and lecturers are expected to receive their laptops this term. There will be more smart/electronic whiteboards, more multimedia projectors, and more computer labs in primary and secondary schools that will serve as the basis for the development of critical skills for the digital age.
The Education Minister says that Information and Communications Technology, ICT, is a major pillar as the ministry seeks to transform education for national development.
Madam Speaker, ICT is a major pillar as we transform education for national development. I was delighted to learn recently from Honorable Dana Morris-Dixon of the results of a psychometric assessment of those students who registered for the LIFT program. In the area of digital literacy, simulation, and verbal reasoning, the averages were 82% and 79% respectively. Thank you, whoever did that.
Mrs. Williams continued saying she believes in the value that teachers bring to schools and communities.
I believe in the value that teachers bring to our schools and communities, and this is evidenced in my recent Teacher Tuesday feature on social media that seeks to highlight the good work being done in schools across Jamaica by phenomenal educators, and I want to say congratulations to all of them.
For the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Jamaicans are being invited to submit their poems for this year's National Library of Jamaica's Poet Laureate competition. The deadline is March 1. Since 2017, the NLJ has offered prizes to young writers who have gone on to further their work in the field of literature. For competition submission requirements and other details, interested persons are invited to visit the NLJ website at www.nlj.gov.jm. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Over 3,200 new housing solutions were approved by the Real Estate Board of Jamaica in 2023 and are expected to start construction in 2024. This is a 36% decline from the 5,135 units that were approved in 2022. The 2023 approvals represent 92 residential and commercial developments. For 2024, investors can expect to see new construction in 7 of the 14 parishes of the island. For the parish of St. Andrew, there are 868 units approved, while the parish of Kingston is expected to see 119 new apartments. The parish of St. Anne will see 875 units built, mainly geared at the diaspora market, seeking to own apartments in the tourism corridor. St. James will have 794 units approved, with the parish of Manchester expecting to see 822 units. St. Catherine is expected to have 429 new apartments, with the parish of Hanover rounding out the approvals with 420 units. Civil servant and parliamentary salary increases granted in 2023 moved Jamaica to the top of the wage scale of 20 Caribbean countries surveyed by the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC. At the bottom of the scale was El Salvador, Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago. The report also explained that Jamaica had 104.6% labor force participation, coming in second place behind Bolivia, which had 106% of its labor force employed. That said, the ECLAC report noted that despite the wage and employment gains, Jamaica is expected to grow by only 1.9%, dwarfed by Guyana, that is expected to grow by 29% in 2024 on the back of its oil discovery. With the purchase of 1,630 shares on January 5 of this month, the Musson Group tipped its control of related company, food manufacturer and distributor, Seprod Limited, to 50% and triggered the Jamaica Stock Exchange rules, which requires an offer to purchase majority shares in the company. With investment banker JMMB as the deal broker, Musson will offer to buy another 14 million Seprod shares at a total price of $1 billion Jamaican dollars, which would give Musson 51.9% control of Seprod. In addition to Seprod, the Musson Group has a stake in General Accident Insurance, Productive Business Solutions, A.S. Bryden, Geddes Grant, and Canopy Insurance. Formed in 1963, the Musson Group currently employs over 5,000 persons in 25 countries throughout the Caribbean, Central America, and beyond. The last financials for the privately owned Musson Group showed that 10 years ago, the company headquartered in Kingston, Jamaica, earned US $1 billion per year. The new ownership structure of telecommunications firm Digicel will take effect on January 24, 2024. The change in management came as a result of a deal to turn US $4.7 billion in outstanding debt owed by Digicel into equity shares. Two investment firms bought the debt and will now have ownership shares and voting rights in the management of Digicel. Investment firm PGIM will hold 48.4% of Digicel, and the second investment firm, Contrarian Capital, will hold 16.2% of the telecommunications firm. Founder Dennis O'Brien will see his stake in the company reduced to a minority shareholding. Digicel was founded in 2001, and over US $5 billion was poured into the company to develop its telecommunications structure according to the debt-to-equity swap documents. During trading on January 19, 2024, the top advancing stocks covered the entertainment and real estate sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. KLE Group Limited shares advanced by 32.37% for a price increase of 45 cents to close at $1.84 with 217,000 shares traded. Cygnus Real Estate Finance Limited US dollar shares advanced by 15.4% to shift up by 1 cent to close at 8 cents with 1,000 shares traded. 138 Student Living Jamaica variable preference shares advanced by 15% to jump by $25.08 to close at $192.28 with 3 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on January 19, 2024, the top 3 losers covered the distribution, finance, and food sectors. AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited declined by 18.61% to fall in price by 59 cents to close at $2.58 with 33,000 shares traded. Cygnus Credit Investments Limited US dollar shares declined by 12.14% for a fall of 1 cent to close at 7 cents, with 72,000 shares traded. Jamaica Producers Group Limited declined by 11.57% for a fall of $2.88 to close at $22.02, with 956,000 shares traded. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, trading activity on their stock market for the first tier market registered a volume of 183,000 shares crossing the floor of the exchange, valued at 4.3 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars. Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader with 68,000 shares changing hands for a value of 303,000 TT dollars, followed by ANSA Merchant Bank Limited with a volume of 42,000 shares being traded for 1.8 million TT dollars. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the regional stock markets, we turn to the Forex market. On January 19, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $12.5 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $15.5 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $155.92 and bought the US dollar for $154.03. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.89, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $4.41 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $119.15 and bought for $114.74. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $10.55, selling it for $201.91 and buying it for $191.36. Before we end the segment, we have a new young boss for you to meet. I hand over to Danita Rodney.
Welcome to another episode of Young Bosses. I'm Danita Rodney. This week we meet Jerome Faulkner of Jerome's Landscaping and more. He'll be telling us of his journey into the land of entrepreneurship.
My name is Jerome Faulkner, the CEO of Jerome's Landscaping and more. We started in 2021. What we do is we mostly cut lawns, wash awning, spray them back, and we build the fabric one as well. It was during COVID. Yeah. Things got really slow because I used to work at Red Stripe, but things got really slow during COVID and I was mostly at home. So that's what inspired me. It was rough. It was very, very rough, but after it picked up after. Yeah. It was really rough at the beginning because we were home, and even for the week, we will get just one call or maybe two calls for the whole week. The transformation, the before and the after. Yeah, the before and the after, because we take a lot of pictures before. And the rough work where other people were afraid of, and them the one that me love. Yeah, because I like the after look. It's satisfying. It's really satisfying. But we are still out there pushing same way. But where it's at now, it's way, way better than before. To be honest, yes. Yes, there was. Because with the whole lockdown and the going out and all of that, yeah, there was a lot of fears. There was a lot. Because, you know, we did have to, the government did limit our movements and so forth. And, you know, we have to open our feet to do landscaping. knowing that it is island-wide. The hardest part was to find dedicated workers. Knowing the sun is really scorchy at times. So as them come, them go. We call some, we have some for say, let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then we call them again and nothing. So 95% of it I did by myself, cut and rake. It was really, you know, really rough in that case because getting like dedicated workers. But it's on a steady level now. Well, what I realize is that most people who start a business expect it to just lift and shoot. Not just lift and just start take off, but there are and there will be a lot of challenges. So just focus, like what me do, just focus and just, you know, keep heads up and just pray. Never left out God, just continuously pray. Yeah, you can contact me at Instagram, Jerome's Landscaping and more, and also on Facebook as well.
And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, Guyana's Vice President, Dr. Barbados Jagdeo, says the government is not considering any amnesty for persons who have illegal guns in their possession, but it wants to step up enforcement efforts. He says the government is focused on introducing more technology in crime-fighting efforts so that there are more sophisticated tools in place to fight crime.
The amnesty did not work on the APNU. Why would a criminal, if this gun has a record and we have the bullets and we can trace the bullets, bring in a gun and give it to the government to convict themselves? So amnesty did not work. That was one of the last government's key crime-fighting measures. The next one was to bring some dogs in and horses from abroad. You recall, as ridiculous as they sound now, not technology, not putting up cameras with software that could predict crime and all of that we're going for now, modern technology, but to bring in dogs and horses and stuff. That was Ramjatan kind of proposal. So I believe strong enforcement. If you don't have permit for a weapon, then there should be strong enforcement. And if you're found with a weapon, then you should suffer the consequences. Enforcement. It's clear they like this amnesty business. It has not been considered in the government, but from our history, we've seen, and recent history, it didn't work.
In Barbados, business opportunities abound in the medicinal cannabis industry. The observation was made by Dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences, Dr. Damien Kohal, at the presentation of a research and development license to the Cave Hill campus of the University of the West Indies from the Barbados Medicinal Cannabis Licensing Authority. He says the industry is projected to make $50 billion this year.
A significant portion of this revenue will be derived from research and development activities from the cannabis value chain, which runs from seed to sale, as we know. It is anticipated that our research in the Faculty of Medical Sciences will focus primarily on the cardiometabolic syndrome, and we have a few proposals that we're sitting waiting for a license to be passed on to us so that we can get going. We also have been doing, not here in Barbados, but with partner institutions such as the University of Glasgow, research affecting the central nervous system, specifically epilepsy. And again, this license will allow us now to bring our research home in our laboratory. The benefits are endless, colleagues, as these medicinal interventions can create wealth and health opportunities impacting the quality of life of Barbadians who can benefit directly. And as the CEO mentioned, the indirect benefits of working within this industry are well established. This will only lead to an upward trend in the country's gross domestic product and create a better quality of life for all Barbadians and residents of Barbados.
In Trinidad and Tobago, a commission of inquiry is recommended that Paria Fuel Trading Company face corporate manslaughter in relation to the pipeline tragedy that claimed the lives of 4 divers. The report, which was laid in Parliament, also found that Land and Marine Construction Services also had to bear a measure of responsibility. Jesse Ramdeo tells us more in this report.
Surfacing from the Commission of Inquiry into the 2022 pipeline tragedy, which claimed the lives of 4 men, are recommendations for state-owned company Paria Fuel Trading Company to be charged with corporate manslaughter. The term refers to a criminal offence where a business or organisation is found to have caused a person's death. Under the heading Prosecutions, Voluntary Manslaughter, on page 32 of the report, there are sufficient grounds to conclude that Paria's negligence was consequently criminal. The report, which was laid in Parliament on Friday, also found justifiable evidence for the prosecution of the company's operations manager Colin Piper and Land and Marine Services owner Kazim Ali Sr. for offences under the Occupational Safety and Health Act. The commissioners also outlined over 10 reasons why they were unable to accept Piper's account that he or the incident command system operated by Paria acted urgently or reasonably. The report further shed light on how Kazim Ali Jr., Faisal Kurban, Yusuf Henry and Rishi Nagasa died. Concerns were also raised that nearly 20 years after the establishment of the OSH agency, there were no compulsory guidelines for the commercial diving industry. On Friday, Energy Minister Stuart Young confirmed that the report was now with the Director of Public Prosecutions.
The Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago has taken a decision to send the report from the Paria Commission of Inquiry, Paria and LMCS, for a thorough look at by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, who, as we all know, constitutionally and during the course of the conduct of his normal business, if he sees it fit to engage the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service or any other investigative arm, he will do so.
And with speculations that selected findings from the report may have been deleted, Stuart Young maintained,
absolutely none.
Among the over 40 recommendations contained in the report was that compulsory regulation be introduced for the industry with financial penalties and criminal sanctions for companies failing to adhere to them. Jesse Ramdeo, CNC3 News.
In sports, reggae girl Khadija Bunny Shaw continues to make Jamaica proud. This after her impressive form for Manchester City in the Women's Super League on Sunday by scoring another hat-trick in a 5-1 takedown of Liverpool. This marks the 3rd treble for Shaw in her last 4 WSL games. She is the leading scorer in the WSL this season with 12 goals. Jamaica's Hockey Fives team will depart the island today for their first ever World Cup in Muscat, Oman. The Jamaica Hockey Foundation was still short of funds needed to cover the tournament expenses days before the squad's departure. However, the Jamaica Olympics Association, who had previously provided the JHF with $3 million to help fund the journey, stepped in again to make up the shortfall when it was discovered that government funds would not be available until after the tournament. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.